Hello, my name is Mustafeen Arshad. I'm an advocate in Pakistan and also was a solicitor in the UK. And today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. David Stewart, who is actually a professor in the University of Westminster, who also taught me criminal litigation, family law, related matters, related laws. And it's basically the program called LPC, which by stand for means Legal Practical Course. Some of you must have heard of it when people do come to UK and they want to pursue their career of becoming a solicitor, or either they do some bar practical course which is towards the barrister training. Today we're just gonna have a general discussion with David about two certain topics which we have in mind, and a bit of a comparison. I hope David can shed on Pakistan and United Kingdom law matters. The first topic we're going to discuss about is death penalty, how that penalty is affecting in Pakistan, and what UK has done with regards to death penalty laws, or they don't really have it, but if they do, how can we learn from United Kingdom and can apply that on in Pakistan. So, hello David, how are you? You alright?
Hello, Mustafeen, and welcome back to Westminster.
Thanks very much. It's a nostalgic feeling.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. So basically, this is a channel we run in Pakistan. It's called Arshad Javed and Associates. It's a YouTube and TikTok channel. Kind of give brief related topics about law. So I was visiting UK and I thought I'd rather see you as well and give my live the old memories and also discuss something about for our viewers to learn about what criminal litigation in UK is, and how do you find with regards to the law which are implementing in UK, and can we learn from those laws to implement those in Pakistan. The first topic I really want to discuss with you is with regards to death penalty. I mean, in my opinion, Pakistan is still have a death penalty there because of the growing population and not really strong laws to prevent the death penalty, because over there minor crime or major crime, if you found guilty, you can go either for a long term, or if you found guilty for serious crimes such as murder, manslaughter, even rape or child sex abuse, etc., it lead to the judges over there in Pakistan, probably the whole judicial system, try not to give them the death penalty, but the grieved families or grieved people, they prefer that they die by the hands of law. So what do you think? I mean, in UK the death penalty is not available.
Well, it's been abolished for a long time now for the major things such as murder, etc. The arguments against it are the courts get it wrong. With the best will in the world, juries and judges are reaching the best estimation of truth. So back in the old days, the wrong people were hanged. And it came out later that they were innocent, and so that in itself is a huge tragedy. It of course also drove the fundamental principle that the burden of proof is on the prosecution, that you've got to be sure of guilt, but no human being is infallible, so mistakes are made. I think if you were to go back way back in time, in dealing with a serious criminal within any community, the community will look to protect itself. And so you could see why things like banishment from the community, which, depending where your community was, could lead to death if you didn't have the support of your community, or the death penalty itself would protect the community. But I think once you've reached a position where a society can build prisons, keep people in prison, and work with them there, then there isn't an excuse to continue with the death penalty, because the population at large can be kept safe. And so, oddly, I don't know the statistics, but there's always been a feeling that if you put it to a general vote, the public would be in favour of the death penalty. You never know until that happens. and you have a debate. It's like Brexit. You never know
Yeah,
until
never
you
know
give
what's
the,
gonna happen. Yeah.
you never know until you give the public a vote, and
Yeah.
nobody expected that. It's the principle about the victims' families, and then those crimes where the victim themselves is still alive. It's understandable that they might, not all of them, they might wish the harshest penalty possible. If you decide death is harsher than life imprisonment, like some people would say life imprisonment is worse than death. It's, that's a viewpoint of the individual. But I think most societies would say it was better for those who are not immediately involved in the emotion of the situation to make the decision.
Yeah, I understand. So in terms, well, in the UK, they abolish it, but as you said that people might be in favor of death penalty because, sometimes life imprisonment is much worse, to be in the four walls.
Yes, no.
And however, in Pakistan, sadly, the death penalty is still there. But I think our country in Pakistan, people prefer death penalty. I think because the people, the grieved families, or the people who got into this crime, they rather think that to get justice, the best option left is for them to die. But in my opinion, being here in the UK and learn from you as well and everything, I think that people should give her a chance to make their life better. But at the same time, if it's life imprisonment, I don't know if it will actually work for them or not. So,
well, the other thing to remember that for most people, life will not mean life. It's only in the most serious of cases that that a whole life term of imprisonment would be imposed, where a judge has decided at the point of sentencing that there's no way this person could be rehabilitated and allowed back into the community. And all punishment all sentencing is meant to have a penal element to punish someone for doing wrong, but also a rehabilitative element so that
they can learn.
That there is a chance for everyone to reprieve themselves rather than give up on someone after one mistake. So I would remain of the opinion that it should not be brought back.
Okay, I understand. Thank you for that. And then related to this topic, as you know, the justice system in my country, in Pakistan, is something which is not up to the mark in terms of in time related matters. For example, if they are really important, crucial matters, sensitive matters, the justice gets delayed. And as they say, how justice delays, justice denied, these kind of statements come out. Is it the same thing in the UK? Is the criminal system in the UK or justice system is more favorable to the people? Like people do get justice according to the the portfolios of law, time frame?
Well, interestingly enough, I suppose when I started to practice, I would have said the answer to that was yes in this country. But increasingly now, we have very lengthy delays between the point of someone being charged and something reaching trial. The issue being there simply isn't enough space, and so justice can take time. And then that leads to subtle pressures being introduced into the system to encourage people to plead guilty by giving them sentence reductions, by giving them an indication from magistrates as to whether or not they'd get a custodial sentence. So various measures are taken to free up time, particularly in the magistrates' court, the lower courts, because you will get a lot of low-level crime going through there.
I see.
And you've even got the situation where decisions are being made on paper, really without properly trained judges making the decision. So yes, I think a lot of criminal practitioners at the moment would be saying that the English and Welsh criminal justice system is not in the best shape.
Sure. Okay. But yeah, the similar situation in Pakistan, some of the crime rate is growing up, but the justice has not been served to certain people. So that's why many of the developing countries, they always look up to the Western countries that they have a better justice system. And if we go there, we live our lives there, we'll get more, have a better life in terms of getting the justice in time. But for our viewers, in my opinion, I think wherever you go, justice has been getting really delayed. You can't really get justice on time, as per the Mr. David here as well states that. So anyhow, it's something which we cannot avoid. It's just that how people have to tolerate this system and be a part of it. And do you think that people do prefer in criminal justice system to sit with the criminal and have a mediation with them rather than going to the litigation or trial? Is that a possibility? Because sometimes in the UK, I realize that people do have this mediation process where they think they can forgive the criminal and they can have a better life.
Yeah. Well, certainly in the civil justice system, that is hugely encouraged these days, because there again, the system is creaking from the number of cases that have to be dealt with. So increasingly they're looking at arbitration and mediation. There is the possibility for out-of-court resolution for appropriate offences. That's really got to turn on the victim, because some of them will not want to engage in that. And certain crimes, you wouldn't expect someone to try and mediate with the person who hit them or sexually assaulted them or whatever, or killed their relative. But there may be other situations where someone would be prepared to, particularly perhaps with young people, where there may be a greater sense that they have time to redeem themselves.
I understand. I've seen some of the examples where young offenders, they come with the families, they try to apologize, and the families think of them as their children and give them a chance. But as you said, it depends upon the offense, what kind of offense they have done, and that's how they proceed accordingly.
Yeah, well, like the other interesting thing in this country that's making it difficult to get justice, I would, to be fair to our justice system, I would say when it works, it will work very well. So it's a pity that it cannot always work as well or work as efficiently as it does. But we have created lots of new crimes. Because people do tend to think of crime as classic things of theft, murder, fraud, rape, those sort of things, manslaughter, kidnapping. But there's so many other things. And one of the big areas where there are increased prosecutions would be in the domestic sphere. For prosecutions for domestic abuse.
I see.
And recognition of abuse, not just being physical, but being things like financial control and psychological abuse. So that's an expansion of the criminal arena.
I see.
So increasingly, from when I would have been teaching you family law, a lot of the remedy was within the civil justice system. And since then, it's moving gradually towards dealing with the behavior as criminal.
Okay, I understand. I always thought that there's a connection between family law and criminal law in terms of abuse-related matters.
Yes.
Because they go hand in hand. If someone got abused in family law situation, then criminal law applies as well.
Yeah, no, there definitely always was an overlap because if someone was applying for an injunction to stop their spouse hitting them, then clearly a crime was also being committed. But it was a question of whether it was prioritized enough by the state, by the police, whether it was seen as a true assault if it happened within the family context, as opposed to two strangers in the street. Now that perception has changed greatly. It's not to say that there aren't difficulties still remaining with how domestic abuse is treated and investigated, but certainly it has changed. So that's a positive thing. But then if you have increased criminalization of behavior, you need more courts, you need more lawyers. And the other thing about criminal lawyers, because we're dealing with an adversarial system, you've got to pay a prosecutor, you've got to pay a defense lawyer, you've got to pay the judges. And most criminals are not going to be able to pay for their own lawyers. So the state has to pay for it to happen. And so if a doctor goes on strike, most of the population will be sympathetic because they think, I will need the help of a doctor one day. If criminal barristers and solicitors say, we're not going to court, most people are like, who cares? I'm never going to break the law. Even though most of us probably have, even if it's only a road traffic accident, it's a breach of the law, it could end up in court. And that there may be defenses there. And you say only a road traffic accident, but being prosecuted for using your mobile phone whilst driving is one thing. If you happen to be the person who's using the mobile phone when somebody steps out in front of your car, suddenly you have committed an extremely serious crime.
I understand these kind of situations do occur. Well, David, thank you very much for your time. We had a great talk.
It was great to see you.
Same here. It's actually the channel we are trying to provide the information. I thought, your view, Western view, is also necessary for our channel, for Pakistani community to see that how it is, and the comparison and differentiate between the two countries, how the system works, especially in terms of law and crime, criminal litigation, family laws are very much related topics which are common in Pakistan for a discussion.
Well, I think everywhere has its own issues.
Exactly.
The debate helps.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.